Being physically divergent, aka being a zebra, is tough. It is really tough today in today's medical systems and in healthcare and in society. When you are physically divergent, your health condition diverges from the norm in the textbooks. It presents differently. If you have an unusual condition, like I do, I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is very unusual, very different. If you have an unusual condition, any complication that you have to do with that condition might present differently than what they're used to seeing. And therefore you won't necessarily get believed. And I think this is a growing problem. And in fact, there's so many memes about it. People not being believed. And then on the other side, the cynics being like, oh, the fakers, and all this. It's such a big problem that I'm not sure that rare diseases or, being a zebra is as rare as we think it is. I think a lot of people labeled chronic fatigue and, things like that, fibromyalgia, whatever, might have some rare disease. That isn't really, or more than one, like a complex. Anyway, back to the point. It is really hard being a zebra. You are physically divergent, kind of like, neurotypical and neurodivergent. You are like, there's like physically typical, physically divergent, or sometimes people say the horses or the zebra. So when you get sick, you present differently than what they're used to. The condition might be not what they are thinking it is. They look for what it's not, and it tests negative or something, and then they're like, you're crazy and you're not real and it's not happening, and they start gaslighting you. So medical gaslighting happens a lot to zebras. And not only that, the way that we're treated in society, because the doctors set a poor example for people, for society when they're treating us like that. It really needs to stop. And I wish that doctors didn't have so much power that it's almost as if nobody can stand up to them. I know that the politicians here in Canada, really don't stand up to them. They're like, oh, it's the doctor's decision. It's the doctor. Doctors are human too, and they can make mistakes. And right now, the majority of them are making the mistake of treating rare disease or people who are zebras poorly. It's not okay. And, not all doctors, some doctors are trying to change, but it causes trauma for the patient, and it sets a bad example. And then people like me, I've gone my whole life having to deal with being physically divergent, being a zebra, and being turned away from help and having to try to deal with some things on my own, which probably wasn't ideal and might have bought me time. But in the end, here I am, mostly bedridden every day, with a dangerously unstable upper neck and a lot of other problems, and damage and like it's like I'm elderly inside, and I'm 36, and it's because I'm a zebra. It's because I'm physically divergent and I've fallen through the cracks, and I have not been accepted, and I have been discriminated against. And I'm certainly not the only one. And it needs to stop because it's hard enough to be sick. But to be sick and be treated like crap like this on top of it, to be denied care and treated like this sometimes by our own families, which is, really hurtful. I've known so many people with, the neck instability and brainstem compression and Ehlers-Danlos, complications that their families, because the doctors don't help them, their families oust them and give them the cold shoulder, turn their backs. And that is so sad to me. I'm glad that my family knows that I would never choose to live like this. They know better. I mean, my family's not perfect for sure. I can say that growing up was hard and, it was sometimes painful, but, Blood is thicker than water, and I love my family, and I know that they believe me. So how could people that live with me and see me not believe me at this point? You know, why would I want to take 14 pills a day? Why would I want to be in bed all day? When people say, that there's nothing fun about doing this, right? Like there's nothing like what do you get out of it? What would I get out of it if I pretended to do all this? I mean, I would be really nuts. And I don't even know if anyone would want to go that far. And why would I, more than anything, it's like, why would I want to get surgery that I don't need? Why would I want to get a dangerous neurosurgery and get cut into and potentially paralyzed or killed? No. Obviously, I'm willing to go through something that scares the crap out of me because I have a real valid issue. And I'm not the only one that's getting treated this way. And people really need to think about how stupid that behavior is. People really need to have some compassion, if they're capable of it, which some are not. So that's the bottom line. It really sucks being a zebra. It really sucks being physically divergent in today's world. We are not evolved yet regarding that. Being, discriminant against somebody who is physically divergent, who is a zebra, is a form of ableism, period. And so if you're doing that, if you're saying that that person is being a faker because you don't understand their illness and you're not taking the time to learn about it, you are being ableist. And don't be that person. We need compassion, love, and understanding. We are going through enough, and we're losing our quality of life. We're losing our dreams. We're losing our lives. We shouldn't have to wait till somebody's dead to feel bad, to have sympathy, empathy. We just shouldn't. But I see that happening too. So we don't need mental health, complexities on top of what we're dealing with physically. And it's up to society, but especially it's up to doctors. I mean, going back to doctors, they really need to be stood up to. People need to say it's not okay. People need to come together, in numbers and say, this is not okay. The way we're being treated is not okay. We need care. We deserve care. We are valid. So the more that people say that, hopefully, the more doctors will change. The more doctors will know that they have a responsibility to evolve and learn and be kind and caring and provide zebras, physically divergent people, with the same care that they provide everyone else. They have a duty to do that, and they're failing us, a lot of them, and it's not okay. They set a bad example for society, and this is why it's tough to be a zebra.